All right, cool. Well, we sent the announcement out, so people will follow in, and we can go ahead and get started. So,
Like,
real quickly, I was just going to introduce, for anyone that's new, just joining in, that's new to our guild and to this server, I was just going to quickly introduce ourselves. So, we are one cross-chain guild, aka OXG. We're a free-to-join Harmony-based gaming guild. If you are into play to earn, if you're into DeFi, if you're involved in the Harmony ecosystem at all, definitely consider checking us out. We are definitely welcome you in. We are kind of a non-financially incentivized guild. We're pretty much just kind of community driven. We have a pretty exciting roadmap that you can check out. We have a diagram for it, and got some exciting initiatives kind of going on all year long with like some metaverse stuff, with building out our own land NFTs and profile picture NFTs, and all kinds of different things like that. So we have
yeah,
our
you
own
guys are
little
sweet.
yeah, we have our own little exciting roadmap going on. And, like I told you guys kind of when we initially connected, just, we are all about kind of driving support and enthusiasm and engagement into the Harmony ecosystem. I think obviously it only helps everybody involved. If we're all investors in, the one token or anything kind of in that ecosystem that helps drive the value, we're all investors in this community is kind of how I see it. So really excited to introduce, for those that aren't already aware, the Hermes DeFi team to our guild. And you guys, in my opinion, are some major players up and coming in the Harmony system. And so while we go through this, I also just want to let everyone in the audience know you can request to speak. This is an AMA. So we're having our conversation, feel free to request. I'll queue you up. And if I bring you to the stage, just kind of keep your mic muted until it's your turn to talk. And, this is pretty casual.
Definitely want to keep this, as open forum, just kind of a chance to communicate with people. So love that.
So, before we get started, I know you guys gave Drip just a little alpha in the beginning, so we'll get to that. But, starting with you, Aaron, and then you, Matt, do you want to kind of just introduce yourself real quickly? And then, Matt, tell us how long you've been a community manager with Hermes and how you guys connected.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. I'll branch out first here. So my name's Aaron. I am the community leader for Hermes DeFi. I started as an investor and then a moderator, and then I got fast tracked into helping manage the community. Which I absolutely love and adore. It's been awesome every step of the way. Even days like today where we're not announcing the most exciting things, but I've been actively part of the Harmony ecosystem for about a year and a half now. Um, big fan of Harmony in general, so it's really cool to be able to specialize on a project inside of it, especially one that has as much gumption and ambition as Hermes DeFi. So really excited to see what we can do pushing forward, and I'm really just excited to be a part of that. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'll hand it over to Matt.
So I'm Matt. I've been in Harmony for a little over a year myself at this point. Kind of dabbled elsewhere, just kind of getting my feet wet in crypto. Did a little bit of work here and there, just to kind of see how crypto worked. Kind of whether I'm a good investor, long term holder, and then I kind of found Harmony pretty early on and kind of fell in love with all the things they tout. We're focusing on cheap transactions, fast transactions, and a growing ecosystem at this point, which is phenomenal to kind of be in early, kind of be able to kind of help the Hermes team grow a little bit. Like Aaron said, I kind of also started the same route. First an investor, then a moderator, and then now I do some community management. I kind of do a lot of the social media posting. So if you're checking out the Hermes DeFi subreddit, typically what you're reading is things I'm putting out there. I also handle like our Medium account, and my favorite part of Hermes and Harmony is kind of interacting and communicating with the community. I love to talk to our investors. I love to talk to our team members. I love kind of talking to anybody who likes to talk about crypto. It's kind of become a major hobby and slight addiction, I guess you could say. So
Definitely a healthy addiction, but I have to give kudos. Matt is a phenomenal writer. This man can take the most technical of things and explain it in a way that every lay person has the advantage of becoming educated. And so we're really grateful to have someone like him on the team that can do that for us and really make sure that anybody who wants to be a part of the community can. That's really cool. Really cool to have.
And where can we catch some of that writing? Is that just your Medium page?
Yeah, so everything that I write up, typically it's going to be, for the most part, depending on what the announcement is, it's going to be on our subreddit, as well as the Medium account. So if you're reading on my subreddit, you're also going to see it on the Medium. Um, right now, it's kind of just the early stages. So as we're expanding and growing, and kind of as we have more announcements coming out, you'll be seeing a lot more posts reflecting that. Right now we're still in the Hermes development stage. So once the DEX launches and there's a lot more things happening in terms of action for investors, you'll probably be seeing a lot more of my writings coming out for that. But I'll be sure to post that here for you guys, so you guys take a look. And then I'm always looking for feedback. Uh, I'm not a writer by trade; it's more of a hobby now. So I'm always looking for feedback to see, to see where I can improve, and what are you looking for as an audience, and hopefully meet that need.
Yeah, and aside from Medium, you can go through r/Hermes DeFi on Reddit and find lots of articles written by Matt prior to his access to the Medium. So he's got some really great articles regarding things like bridging over to the Polygon to be able to work with our partners there for farming Iris on Algebra Finance. He's got a great article about um, bringing or going over to Polygon and getting an NFT. The Hermes Heroes is what they're called, as well as he's got a really great FAQ that's available. So Medium will now be his new place of mainly posting, but there are a lot of really great things that are in our subreddit as well that are um, educational in a regard that you can take a lot from them, even if you're looking to take it outside of Hermes. He's got a great article about bridging, and just an FAQ of learning kind of DYOR in a really simple format. So that's definitely something to take advantage of. Also, Matt, you didn't even mention, and this is huge for Hermes. He is not only our writer, but he's helping consolidate, organize, and make our wiki more user friendly and organized and easier to pan through. So Hermes DeFi is working on something that we call learn to earn, where people from our community go in and they write articles about different processes throughout crypto, whether it be how to DYOR or what farming is or how to create LP tokens. And these are not Hermes based, but rather crypto based in general. So it's a really cool platform for anybody to go in and learn about crypto, as well as if you are an expert in some category or another of decentralized finance, you can write an article, and if it stands out with the community members that utilize the wiki, you can get paid for it as well. And Matt is our head organizer for that at the moment, which still needs a lot of work, but he's doing a great job.
Yeah, definitely a work in progress.
Yeah, is there any timeline for the wiki, or just stand by for that?
It is currently active. Yeah. I will send well, actually, no, Couch already sent a link to it in the general chat for people to take a look at.
Cool. Well, listen, you guys mentioned Polygon, so that's kind of a perfect segue. So I kind of wanted to start this by explaining a little bit kind of how I know you guys, and then I would love for you to kind of fill in the gaps a little bit and kind of, iron out the details of exactly that story, because I think it's a fascinating one. So kind of how I know you is you started on Polygon, as you mentioned, and I'm not exactly sure what all you did on Polygon, but I know you did mint some of these NFTs, which are some of the profile pictures you both have right now, which look super cool. And
Thank you.
I know that's like a way to get into your guild as like a kind of a next tier, as like a Hermes hero, right? So I know people like that. And I was even looking at it and I was like, oh, it's on the Polygon. I was thinking like everything you got, because I didn't realize you started on Polygon. So I was like, oh, nice, like a little Harmony PFP, like we'll see what's up. So you started on Polygon, and then I guess within the last 12 months of a year, it's been quite a whirlwind for your team, since you've moved from Polygon to Harmony. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe not only has the team received a $50,000 grant from Harmony, but also over $300,000 in investment from Harmony's foundation, or the Harmony Investment Fund, which is really, a pretty significant stamp of approval from the Harmony team, which seems to be evidently hard to get, these days. So to me, that speaks also volumes. And is that kind of correct, that whole story of just how that's gone by? Is there anything else you want to kind of say about that?
Do you want to jump in, or should I take it, Aaron?
You're more than welcome to take it. And then I'll just bounce off whatever you say if there's any gaps.
Sure, that's always good to know. So we started back on Polygon in December. End of December, we were going to launch a token called Apollo, but there were some security issues with it in the contract, or the smart contracts. So during that time when they were looking at moving from Polygon to a different network, it kind of came down to either Cronus or Harmony. Looking at both of those, ultimately ended up going with Harmony due to the perks of Harmony. Like we said earlier, low transaction fees, incredibly fast transactions in terms of time. So Plutus is basically the Apollo token with the smart contract fixed. It was basically recognized from the auditing process what was overlooked, what was missed, resolved. Plutus launched as a pre-sale token for bringing liquidity into the platform, which, I think we could all say at this point, as we're looking through the Plutus launch to now, migration of tokens, upgrades, exchanges. It's definitely been a process. It's definitely been something that the team itself has learned. We've kind of recognized some of the, maybe errors along the way that maybe we could have done better here. We're always, the team itself has expanded from, I want to say, 7 people in January to over 15 people this time. And we're only talking about 3 months, basically. So that's a really rapid expansion. That's and on top of that, we also have 7 moderators that do a phenomenal job on the daily. We span 4 different continents, so you have people from different time zones that are able to engage with the community. At this point, as Aaron had mentioned, we're getting ready for our DEX launch, although it got postponed just a little bit from another security audit with Surtech. Our motto is safe, transparent, fast, and all those tie together with Surtech by giving us the best audit possible. So as we look at right now, we're just we're trying to extend our emissions a little bit, trying to make sure we're engaging our community. We want to make sure that this process is as seamless and as positive for any person who's engaging with the Hermes platform. Did I miss anything, Aaron, that you want to point out?
No, I think you knocked that right out of the park. I mean, so the move from Polygon to Harmony was something that did happen before Matt and I's time, so it's not something that we can really speak fully in depth on of the team's decision making process. But by God, we are really grateful that they showed up on Harmony and that we were able to become, a part of what they represent and want to continue to do for the ecosystem. We came in here with an opportunity for a growing ecosystem, and Hermes has jumped at the bit, to show its support with our RPC, our validator node as well, which we're working on getting to an elected status. So, we've come in and really tried to show that we're not just here to be a profitable project, but something that supports the growth of Harmony's ecosystem, because we believe that Harmony is going to be one of those cryptos, that goes the distance, that makes it, in the long run of crypto. And we want to be on top of that as early as we possibly can be.
Okay, so you said the team. So are you saying the core team went from 7 people to 15 people? Did I hear you right on that expansion, those numbers?
Correct.
So, yeah, something like that. Because when I joined in the end of January, I was team member like number 7 or 8. And now we might be at 16 again. I can't remember. We had one dev who was awesome. They left to explore another project with some friends, which was sweet. And then we literally brought someone else in the same exact day. So I think we ended up we're at 16, right, Matt? Does that sound right?
I wouldn't say it's 15 or 16, but 15. The team has doubled in the last month. We have doubled, which is, a sign to a project that's growing, and the team has to grow to accommodate those needs. You're looking at, we brought more devs on. I've joined. We have had a couple more AlgoFi members join. Our mathematicians, as we call them, because DeFi is, a lot of it is mathematics. How do you get the best rates? How do you get the best platform? And it all comes down to numbers to make sure that the investor is getting the best opportunity possible.
That's definitely something worth talking about. The expansion and the latest hiring is our AlgoFi group, which makes up of 2 dudes, Vaclaron and Safe Haven, who are both moderators as well. And these 2 dudes are just absolutely brilliant with their knowledge of crypto as a whole. We're talking all the way outside of Harmony. Every blockchain you can think of that's up and coming, they know a little bit about what's going on, if not a lot. and we have them doing research and development for us in the background, which is just absolutely sweet. Because I was talking to Safe Haven, and he even told me he loves it. He's like, I get to sit in the think tank and really try to come up with ideas to help benefit Hermes, and they're just brilliant individuals who I'm jealous of how intelligent they are in their understanding and capabilities, but also extremely grateful that I get to work with them and see and hear their insights. I know Matt and I have had some interesting conversations where we look at their chats or the developer chat and we're like, the hell is going on? What are all these numbers? But you know what? They always add up and they always work at the end of the day. These guys are just absolutely brilliant.
A humbling experience, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So I'm going to assume that that kind of expansion from the team kind of came after the whole Harmony investment, and that was kind of where all this kind of growth idea and ability kind of came from the Hermes team, correct?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So,
That
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, for anybody who isn't Couch, if you could drop that in here, or I think Crayon is in here as well. If one of you guys could drop the investment summary, we are very transparent in that summary of, how much money was going to be allotted towards bringing on new team members. And I think they have fulfilled what they wanted to, but we've been very open and as always, transparent with, hey, this is how much money we got. Here's what we're going to do with it. And so it should be known to the community, as it should. They're invested with us. We are a business, and as a contender to become one of hopefully the best dexes on Harmony, we will be the leader of customer service within the Harmony ecosystem, and we want to do the very best that we can with that. And the first step is to obviously just be as transparent and open as possible.
It is interesting that you mentioned the customer service thing, because just as a personal takeaway going through your server, I mean, I was kind of like, man, these guys have a lot of mods and they're like all over it and like really helpful and nice. And it's just a really helpful vibe is really all I get from you guys and when I enter your Discord space. So the fact that you guys are going for some of that community service stuff customer service stuff.
Yeah, no, it's something that I think people need to start to realize. Big money is coming into crypto, and we are not big money. I don't know, and I don't mean to offend anybody in this AMA, but probably none of us are, the big money that really rock the boat, that make things change. But, big corporate money is coming in, and you have to realize that crypto is a business, and a decentralized exchange is the forefront of that, where people are going to be pivoting from one project to another. And that is the head of customer service. And you know what? We don't have the decks out and we're already presenting top-notch customer service. The questions do not go unanswered in chat. They don't go ignored if we don't know. We find answers. And that's something that will continue through as the decks comes out. And I think that that's something that not immediately, but over time will become conveyed as something really, really beneficial as you begin to see other projects that might not offer it to the same degree.
I want to jump on that real fast. So today we even launched a ticketing bot in our Discord that if members, if they ask a question and they're not getting a response, whether it's just, because conversations are happening, they can raise tickets that get either addressed by a moderator or they can get bumped up basically to a team member to ensure that they're getting their one-to-one question answered directly from somebody that can help them.
So let's get into the decks a little bit. I know you guys said that there's a bit of a delay, but we'll get into that part. But, every project almost in the DeFi space, it's all about launching their own decks. So, in your guy, what would you consider, that competitive advantage that Hermes is going to have as a dex when you guys do launch on Harmony?
Matt, you want this one or you want me to jump at this one?
Why don't you jump on that? I'm going to grab the roadmap real fast just to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest competitive advantage that we're going to offer is our unique take. So we have something that we're bringing in called dual farms, which is really, really great for incentivizing LP through our decks, which will help us tackle and conquer a large chunk of TVL. The idea of these dual farms is that, you provide LP, we'll just say for simplicity, and this is not saying that, there's a partnership or anything guaranteed there, but just a common project, Roy and, Hermes. Say we create an LP pair of Roy and Hermes. Well, then you would be able to stake that LP and earn both Hermes tokens and Roy tokens in addition to the regular fees you would get of, your typical liquidity protocols type things. And that's like, a really huge boost, because what it does is it proves that, we really care about the investors, and that, Roy is gaming, we're a DEX, so we're completely separate entities in how we perform and shift with the market. And what we're doing is allowing people to get their fingers in multiple pies, or, a foot in two different projects, which helps to mitigate loss for the investors as things go forward, which is a huge advantage, to show that you're caring about the people who are investing money with it. On top of that, it's important to know we will have a 0.2% swap fee, and so those are just two things. I don't want to say also too much because I don't want to overstate or disclose some things that maybe are not 100% public yet, but there are a lot of really cool advantages, to working with us, reaching out. We have a huge chunk of our token allocation set aside specifically for ecosystem funding, and by that we mean supporting fellow projects on the Harmony blockchain. So there's a lot of really cool things that I'm excited for, but I don't want to say too much because I don't want to risk getting in trouble. But yeah, definitely some really cool things coming up and some unique features that we all have the same Uniswap v2 backend. So it's really about what each individual can do with the front end and make it unique and simple and a great experience for the user.
What is the type of investor that you would say you're going for? Are you going for the casual investor? Are you going for the gamer? Are you going for the kind of savvy?
All of it. We want. Yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say we're targeting all kinds of traders. The best thing about the Hermes token itself is that it will have no slippage. So you're not losing. When you place a large order, you're not losing any percentage to slippage. You're able to maintain your entire order with that 0% slippage, which is huge, especially if you're somebody who wants to make large transactions of thousands of dollars, per swap. That gives you that ability to not worry about losing, 2-3% of your purchase.
That's
some other really cool
guarantee that there's going to be no slippage. I've never even
it'll be like 0.01% or something like that, real tiny.
Yeah. But that's one of the things that we're targeting. We want to make sure that we're able to give you the best bang for your buck in terms of trading. So it's almost feeless, I guess you could say, right? If it's 0.0001, whatever, you're not losing. Right now, Plutus, for example, you have to set your slippage to 4%, right? 2% goes back to the bank, if I recall, and then 1% was burned. So you have to set that to 4. So with Hermes, it's going to be negligible that you're worried about, which is phenomenal.
All right, so two things.
Yeah, and
go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, yeah, I was just going to say on top of that, something that's really, really exciting, that is, for our stability. We have something that we introduced called the One Bank, and Hermes DeFi is going to be launching with like close to $1 million in liquidity, if not more, which means, that the early swapping, oftentimes you'll see a huge pump and then dump, and not because it's a calculated pump and dump, just with any time you see a new token listed, a new project, when the liquidity's low, they shoot up, and then you see that little bit of a sell-off as LP comes in and people exit their early positions. With this really high allocation of LP, we're going to be able to be a little bit more stable right off the rip, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, so let's talk about the One Bank. I mean, that's one of the most exciting things you guys have going for you right now, in my opinion. I think it's garnered a lot of attention in the Harmony ecosystem with being able to single stake one or wrapped one, and this really interesting, unique, what you guys are considering this pre-sale, right? Of getting this Plutus, this Plutus token as a reward, and kind of working this emission schedule to a point where the Plutus then becomes the pre-sale token to the upcoming Hermes token, correct?
Correct. Yeah, Plutus is the term pre-sale is thrown around a lot. I like to consider it like a long-term IDO. So Plutus has remained pretty stable in price, especially for a farming token, and it's really cool because you're able to see, hey, what our devs do, how transparent we are, and now you're getting the advantage as well as not only seeing what we're capable of doing in the successful end, but how we're able to handle our failures and our shortcomings and be still transparent with our community. And so this Plutus just serves as a long-term IDO for you to really dip your toes in the water, figure out, hey, is this a protocol I really want to get involved with? Because Plutus is still allowing you to get in early before the Hermes token is even out. And so originally the term was pre-sale, but again, I try to push more for just long-term IDO, the availability to get in while you know what you're getting into and becoming a part of, which I think is invaluable. A lot of the times you'll see an IDO and it's 2 or 3 days long, and you dump a shit ton of one in there hoping that you get some tokens and then hoping that it rises. Whereas, this obviously there's still speculation and there's uncertainty, but I think you have a little bit more of an understanding and a chance to really know what's going on, which is good.
And I don't know if any of you or either of you want to speak on kind of that fair launch component of the one bank that I also find really unique to the long format IDO, if you will.
Yeah, Matt?
Yeah. So, when we were discussing what would be the best way to protect our investors, nobody wants to see, 500 people get in at insane APRs, and then the next day, it's dropped significantly. So what we did is we picked, Sunday the 15th of March, right? Is that date correct, Aaron?
15th of March for what? Sorry.
The one bank?
That sounds right. Let me double check. I'm in there right now.
Yeah, I was bringing it up too to make sure that I also was bringing it up right.
One bank opens March 15th. Yeah, so we've been open for about 10 days.
So, we were picking the 15th. We gave everybody ample notice with announcements, whether it be through our Discord, our Telegram, our subreddit, just to make sure everybody was aware this was the plan in order to, to one, make sure everybody had ample notice, and two, was that we were setting it for 33 hours later, based off the block, that at that point, emissions would begin. I can't tell you the number of people that asked the same question between the 33 hours, when does the bank begin? So, it was communicated above and beyond to make sure that every single person was aware that we're all starting at the same APR rates, whether it be the daily ROI or the total APR. I want to say even before emissions began, we were, we blew away expectations. I'll put it that way. Even leading up to before the one bank launched, and even at this point, we're still blowing away expectations. I think our initial calculated estimates only went up to 300,000 TVL locked in, and I think at this point we are over 1.1 million, which is, again, like I said, blew away any expectations that our team had going into the one bank.
Yeah, I remember that day. That was pretty much the slowest, longest 33 hours in my life, I think, as I watched the
Yeah,
APR
I have to say a huge kudos, because I definitely, you've been an active part of our community for a little while now. So it's sweet seeing that you're in there wanting to be active in our community as well as inviting us to speak in yours. So a huge thanks. Just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so we've talked about the Plutus. So, you talked about the 30-day Hermes being delayed because of the auditing procedures. So, is the token launch also being delayed with the DEX? Is that kind of a in tandem thing?
Yeah. Okay. So the reason that decision was made was that was something that Matt and I both clarified with Valley, because Matt and I are planning. We have actually, pardon my French, but we have an array of fucking sweet things coming up for the next 4 weeks. So there's going to be a lot to fill the gap while you guys are waiting. Introductions to teams, lots of really fun, creative giveaways, and Matt had a really great idea of a gaming weekend where we host tournaments of free to play games, which. Awesome. We would love to do that with the community. But so the big reason is we want the community to still be able to trade, exchange, and feel like they own an asset of value while we're waiting. So keeping the Plutus exchange open really doesn't hurt anything. 2/3 of it are already locked in the bank anyway. And so now we're going to be having a flexible staking where you can put your Plutus in and pull it out whenever you want, but you'll earn a stablecoin DAI, which is sweet. As well as, there's a good chunk of protocol-owned liquidity, so you'll always be able to swap as well. So it was really just the idea of keeping something open, something active for the community to be able to engage in, because, even our team right now, we're in a sitting duck kind of scenario. They're still working on testing and testnet and things of that nature, but, we're all kind of waiting for Certic, and that's not to say anything bad about Certic. They're an awesome company. I completely understand their delay with, and the fact that they even got us in within the month, from my understanding, is insane. So we're super grateful and appreciative of that. But yeah, I just wanted to really keep something open. So the latest date that we heard, and now these are rough dates, an estimate, but we're looking at May 4th for the transition from Plutus to P Hermes, and then that 3-day window where you'll be able to transition.
So is the Iris token? Did you mention that the Iris token was on Polygon, or is that also a Harmony token?
Iris is on Polygon
Iris is on Polygon.
as well.
And
Sorry.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think we overlooked Iris. I think
Yeah.
we just kind of skipped over that bad boy.
Yeah, Matt, why don't you go ahead and give a full, just to give the numbers, because Austin told us last night, roughly 25% of Iris is on Polygon, 75% is here on Harmony. On-chain governance is available for both, but Matt, I will let you go ahead and give a full, detailed explanation of what Iris is and how it, is a part of our little ecosystem.
Yeah, so Iris is our governance token. You know, moving forward, there's going to be the two tokens. The Hermes token is our farming token, and Iris is going to be our governance voting token, as well as what will provide you with dividends. It'll have multiple use cases in terms of bringing, dividends back to you. So whether you're using it in a farm for a pair, or, multiple pair or farms. Oh my god, I can't talk anymore. Farms at that point, so you'll be able to utilize it in a multitude of ways. When you also stake your Iris right in that pair, you also get double, rewards. For example, when we do our giveaways, if you're a Hermes hero, for example, you also get double rewards or entries into getting our giveaway rewards. So it kind of has a multifaceted purpose. We're also looking at expanding how governance votes will occur. We want to make sure that our Iris token is just as strong as our farming token, if not more, right? Hermes is going to have fully diluted in 2.5 years, 30 million tokens. Iris will always only ever have 1 million. And what we also want to make sure is that Iris is spread out throughout the community in order to ensure fair voting. We also, we encourage everybody to hold a little bit so that their voice can be heard whenever a governance vote goes to vote. We want every voice to be heard. And, you're always going to have a little bit of, people with a little bit bigger pools than others, but, every vote counts. And that's what we want to see. We want the last governance vote we had, I think we had out of 660,000 voting power. So about 2/3 of all Iris voters, if my numbers are correct, voted in that, in our bank vote that we held to come up with distribution emissions following the bank. So, it's really cool to see the community coming together. It's really cool to see everybody kind of, offering suggestions. That any person in the community can put a vote forward, which is really nice. We had our last vote, I think, actually stemmed from a community member coming up with suggestions to close one of our banks. And that came from, them just coming up with some ideas. We put it forward. Voting occurred. We learned that smart contract could not be altered, but it was really cool test run to see that our community was able to come up with some ideas and put it to a group vote.
Yeah, it was also really cool just to, tag on there, like Matt said, it's super active. Our most interactive governance vote so far has been one that was a community proposed. So, that goes to show, how in tune the community is with one another and what they want to see. And we're definitely looking forward to getting governance back up and running. Right now, it's been really hard to do any sort of governance stuff, waiting for, results from audits and things of that nature. Nothing that can really be voted on to change, So looking forward to when we can get governance back up, because we were having a governance vote, it felt like once every week, 2 weeks, which was really cool.
That is amazing that you guys have that much turnout and participation for the vote. And is the full supply of Iris already out in circulation, or is that fully diluted?
Yep.
Fully admit.
There are only 1 million tokens available, so low supply and low price right now. We're technically super undervalued. Not financial advice, but I keep scooping up mine when I have a chance.
And so ultimately,
love to vote.
You guys are going to have the Iris governance token and the Hermes farming token. And what would you say, in your opinion, is going to be that kind of long-lasting utility that kind of keeps the Hermes token valuable and sustaining that kind of price action and growth?
We have a list. Do you have it, Matt? We have this beautiful list of all the utility that
I do. Let me grab that.
Yeah,
Just posted it the other day.
because we get asked this question a lot. Hermes is going to be a farm token. Iris, it's utility. It's there. It's blatant. It makes sense. It's governance. It's your chance to participate in the development of Hermes. Um, the Hermes token itself, we have lots of people always asking, hey, what's this going to do? It's just a farm token. It's just going to go down. We have a sweet list of just a ton of utility, and when Matt gets a chance to post that, or maybe one of our other guys,
maybe Couch will beat me to it, but I'm searching for it.
Oh yeah, Couch just dropped it. He's awesome. So you can see there's a list of 13 different utilities that will be going on with Hermes as a whole. So we'll leave that to the discretion of the people to really flip through and decide if it's worth it to them or not. But I've never seen a farming token with this much utility, so I'm excited, which is cool.
Fantastic. And it's funny, this question I'm going to ask you. What is the long-term vision that you see for yourself, or as Hermes DeFi? But I also kind of say that a little bit. Does a long-term vision really, or can a long-term vision exist in crypto with how fast and temporary everything seems? It's one thing to kind of have that audacious long-term vision, but there's also kind of a practical sense to it. So what do you guys see for the quote-unquote long-term vision for Hermes DeFi?
You want me to go? Or you can go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so long-term vision, Valley Rider, our CEO, absolutely brilliant. This dude's like 24 and understands more about the economy, finance, and living life than I do. I'm only 25, so it doesn't matter. But I asked him the question, so Hermes is only going to be admitted for 2.5 years, which realistically is not a super long time. And I was curious when I joined the team and I was helping with the tokenomics and talking to them. I said, only 2.5 years, doesn't that seem short? And him and our CMO, Austin, they asked me, they said, where's crypto going to be in 2.5 years? And I was like, I have no fucking clue. And they were like, exactly. And he was like, this gives us the availability to pivot, adapt, and modify what we need to serve the crypto community best. And so that's kind of what really actually suckered me in on the long term of Hermes. They were like already thinking about the fact and recognizing none of us know what's going to be most popular in crypto in 2.5 years. Hell, we don't even know what's going to be popular tomorrow. But the fact that they're open to the idea of knowing, hey, we're going to have to pivot at some point. We're going to have to make a change, be ready to adapt, and modify our protocol to match the needs of the ecosystem. And they had already thought about that, and I didn't even know that was something to think about at the moment. And so that's just, I guess my reasoning of being long-term and suckered into that vision for Hermes, which I love. But Matt, I'll let you go ahead and share your opinion as well.
Where do I see, crypto in a couple years? Depending on what news.
In Hermes DeFi.
Hermes, yeah. That's fair too. Okay, specifically, so I think it all comes down to utility and sustained utility. As we're able to branch out and continue to either create new opportunities through partnerships or maintain working partnerships, those are two avenues that we can bring utility into Hermes. People, when you're not innovating, when you're not bringing new features to your DEX and you're stagnant, somebody's going to replace you. And that's what I look for Hermes is we're always looking to see what can we do for, we're going to be a trader focused DEX. So what did active traders need? Something that's on our roadmap is our tax documents. That's one of our goals is to create this. So in crypto, we all see taxes are crazy, especially if you do DeFi. I was just working on mine the other day going, oh my God, I'm like so far behind. But if Hermes is able to establish that and, bring that to the forefront and we're able to maintain that, that's one really, really strong opportunity to help any Harmony-based transactions get tracked through that feature. You're looking at competition across different ecosystems. What makes Sushi Swap so successful? What you look at Spooky Swap from Phantom. What makes them successful? How do they maintain and continue to grow? Uniswap, for example, is a $4.5 billion DEX. I think my number is fairly accurate there. So how do they get there, and how do they maintain that? Because they're always innovating. They're always bringing new partners, and they're always doing something that's taking them to the next step. And can't give away any kind of like behind the scenes secrets, but we're always looking to see what makes them successful. How do we do that? How do we do it better? How do we help the Harmony ecosystem grow? And that's how you sustain growth for the next 2.5 years through emissions beyond. I mean, like I said, if you're stagnant, you get replaced. And
Absolutely.
that's where we focus. We want to look, 5 years. How do we go from 2.5 years to 5 years? And what's our 5-year plan? What's our 10-year plan? That's always changing. That's always evolving. How does technology grow? Next year, for example, the Uniswap version 3 comes out. That'll become open source. Our goal is to take that opportunity to go to the next version. And by that point, who knows? Maybe Uniswap comes out with a new one, and we're looking towards, applying for another Uniswap vote to maybe give us a chance to get to V4. I don't know, but my goal, like I said, is innovate, innovate, and innovate. It sounds simple, but that's
No, I love it. That's a perfect answer from both you guys. And also, I just have a couple more questions left for you. But anyone still in the audience, if you have a question for these guys, feel free to request to speak. I'm happy to bring you onto the stage.
Yeah, as well as oh sorry,
Yeah,
Couch. If you see any questions in the general that you can't answer, can you just ping at me or Maba Cran for you as well? Just so I don't want to miss anything in the text chat.
So yeah, anyone feel free to request to speak while I just have a couple more questions for you guys. So are we can we expect any Harmony NFTs?
Oh boy,
Can I get a Harmony Hermes hero?
it is 100% being looked into. I don't understand the technicals of it, so I can only speak so far. Matt, you might know more of the technicals than I do, but they are looking very heavily into getting the Hermes heroes cross-chainer available on Harmony. I don't know what the holdup is, but I'm going to assume that it's something pretty significant if it hasn't been done already. Our team, they move quick, especially on easily attainable things. So there's definitely some roadblock that I don't understand, but I will actually jot that down and get you a more full answer, unless Matt has one right out the gate here.
The only thing I can jump at there is I know that they said that if we can't get it, we've explored doing like Gen 2 on Harmony. So our Generation 1 will be on Polygon, and then maybe if we can't port them and get them to be cross-chain, maybe we would just start Gen 2 on Harmony here, or Gen 1. I guess depends on how you view the Polygon Gen 0, Gen 1. So
yeah.
And I know things like NFTLA is right around the corner, and NFT NYC is coming up. Is the HERMES DeFi team doing any kind of in real life events at all, or are you guys just we're just looking at you in the metaverse?
As a team, I do remember something mentioned about going to a convention in New York. I don't remember anything mentioned about LA. So our CMO Austin, he's based in the Northeast region of the United States, and then our CEO is based out of Spain. So I know they're trying to hit some stuff in Europe as well, which obviously I don't have a passport, so I'm not going. But there's definitely more talks of going to live events like that, especially after the success that we found and had at ETH Denver. With Harmony, that's where we got a lot of networking done. Austin was the one who was there, and he did an awesome job representing us, the community, and the project, and really helped lock some things in, being able to speak face-to-face with Harmony team members.
Well, so that was kind of my last question, was actually about ETH Denver. So was it, you guys weren't there? Was it just Austin that was there?
We were not. That was prior to Matt being on the team. I think you were a moderator at that point, right, Matt?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where the deal went down? Is that where you guys got the amazing funding?
I don't think that that's where the deal went down. I think that's where a lot of the networking and doors were opened. Austin had the opportunity to speak with, Give and Lee and a lot of people at ETH Denver. And I think what happens is just like real life business, like I said, crypto is becoming a real world business very quickly and drastically changing the way we view finance. I think the availability to say, hey, this is my project, and then to put a face to the name, to really speak to somebody person to person, not over a computer or anything like that. I think that still holds a lot of weight in the world that people don't realize or respect. but I think that's really what opened the door for us. I can't say that that's what sealed the deal. It's just what got our foot in the door.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it looks like yeah. If you get in front of Harmony, that's they're very favorable to that, and I think the Project X even it was like you had to do a face only deal to get it and all kinds of stuff like that. So really interesting. Well,
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
you guys have had amazing success. I hear that the little bit of the postponement with the audit, just getting that verified. So you guys have, I think you said you reworked a little bit of the emission schedule for Plutus. So is that being extended? Did you say that, or am I making things up?
Sorry, could you say that again? I think I cut out.
No, yeah, I was just saying, I know that you mentioned that because of the auditing situation that there's a little bit of delay with the Hermes fair launch and the deck. So did you guys have to rework a little bit of the Plutus emission schedule? That's being extended?
No, so Plutus is 100% emitted at this point.
Okay.
The emissions that are coming out in the one bank right now are actually coming directly from the Hermes DeFi treasury, which I believe was voted on or talked about at least with the community. So that's literally coming right out of the pockets of all of us in a sense. We're having the faith that we can almost liquidate ourselves now and have no major holding other than our grant and stuff. Going forward, because we truly believe that it's worth it to emit all of that and get all of that in the hands of our community and our investors, because we think that's going to pay back 10 times, tenfold, with the release of the Hermes token.
It looks like we have one request here, so let's go ahead and bring them up. What's up, Mr.
Hi, is this working?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. Hey,
hey, it's George. How you doing, man?
Yeah, chilling like a villain, following this project like a hawk since you came on the show. You're great.
Yeah.
You're a great sales guy, great community leader, all the above.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. I love hearing from you.
Oh, man, thank you. Hey, so just wanted to ask, I'm participating in the One Bank, really enjoying the yield. I wanted to ask quickly, I think in the message there might have been a little bit of clarification needed. So I was under the impression that the bank was going to release whatever I put in around the beginning of April. I understand that it's been extended to May, but does that mean that we cannot pull those assets out until May?
Unfortunately, that is correct. They are locked until May, and I think that's something that's the biggest pill to swallow for anybody involved. I mean, including myself. I have a hefty chunk. At least, hefty is always relative to who you are and how much money you have. It does suck. It's just point blank. I won't lie. There's no reason to beat around the bush on it. Hermes, or the one being locked until May, is not something that anybody planned for. And that's a tough one to swallow, but yeah, it is. It's just the way the smart contract is designed, because the minute that the contract is released, it will release it, as that LP pair of Hermes 1. And so if we release that earlier, it's essentially worthless, because we're not going to host, liquidity with Viper Swap for 3 weeks and then try to shift it all over to the Hermes decks. We're just, kind of waiting. And so, yeah, I mean, the best answer I can give you is that it's unfortunate and it sucks, and we do apologize for that inconvenience to each and every individual that's with us here.
Okay, cool. Thank you for answering my question.
Absolutely. Hope to hear from you again soon, and hopefully get back on your guys' chat. If anybody's interested, I will give him a quick shout out as well. He is a very similar group to One Cross Chain Guild, the Degenerates for a Brighter Future. They sit and talk and shoot the shit about crypto. It's a really cool group to get involved with as well.
Awesome. If you guys are interested in making some bad decisions, feel free to join. It's all on Telegram. Anyways, thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking, buddy.
And also, before I close out with our little surprise giveaway here, did you mention that you guys were trying to do some like free games, like tournaments and stuff within your Discord?
Yes. Yeah. So, like we talked about, community engagement is probably like one of our top things that especially Aaron and I focus on. It's almost like a crypto family a little bit. So we were kind of kind of brainstorming how do we kind of bring people together from across the world, different time zones, different backgrounds. We were coming up with the idea that maybe we would do a little free to play activity, kind of like a little tournament style, all free to play because not everybody wants to buy a game just for a couple hours, and then kind of come up with a really cool way to do a ranking system based off those games, and then award some of those winners with Plutus or a token giveaway. That's kind of still being worked on details right now, but it's one of the things that we're eyeing up to kind of get through the little bit of a lull over the next month.
Well, listen, the reason why I asked about that is because we are also working on our own free-to-play game tournaments within our guild, and so maybe in the future
we could do
cross party
a partnership
fucking game.
Or
Let's
or a
go.
competition. It might be Hermes DeFi versus OXG.
Oh, that would be sweet. That'd be so fun. That'd be so fun. Hey, so we have two questions here. I'm going to answer the first one, and then Matt, I'm going to let you handle the second one, the one from Vertical Malice. I'm going to handle the one from OXG Access. They said, let me preface this by saying I won't go into specifics. However, recently there was a bit of discourse with a team from another project on Harmony. What is your process for turning off the noise and staying focused on your own project? We don't talk about other projects in any type of way other than positive. There's been a little bit of beef / FUD with Trank and a little bit with Fox, but the thing is, at the end of the day, we totally respect all the projects that are on Harmony. Everybody's trying to do something that is what we believe inherently for the good of the ecosystem, and to block out the noise. We're a tight-knit group. We have 16 people on the team, but everybody understands what everyone else is going through, and we're not just a team working together. We're a group of friends. I mean, Matt and I, personally, I struggle with some mental health issues, and Matt has been an absolute rock for me to lean on as a friend, a coworker, and a colleague. And we get that all the way up from the CEO down to the simple peons like me and Matt, who are just the community guys. It's really, really cool to see that all the way through a team. That you have your time where you talk about work, but shut off the noise. Talk about what you're doing, video games, where you're vacationing. That's something that's really, really important to recognize, that we are all still people at the end of the day, and we want to be treated like people and feel like we are important people to one another. And so that's kind of our mantra within the team, to help keep a tight-knit mesh group that ultimately we all want to see the same goal and the same success. I hope that answers your question as best as possible, Access.
And then to go to Vertical Malice's question, I guess one of the biggest things you'd see right now between Hermes and Trank is probably Trank's biggest thing right now is the working on the game. Hermes is never going to be a gamified DEX. Our goals are similar but different. Trank does have their swap as well. They also have lending and borrowing, which is a really cool system. In terms of that, I know that's one of our ideas to bring down this year's roadmap, is to introduce lending as well and borrowing. So you'll see a little bit of blending, you'll see a little bit of comparison. But I think the biggest thing to answer your ELI 5 question is the gamified aspect. They have the gamified, we don't. Outside of that, when you look at the market piece, the dashboard for it, they have that set up now. That's something that we're working toward once we have our decks built and established. And our goal too is to be competitive. You want, it's not a bad thing to have a couple of decks available per ecosystem, because competition drives the innovation piece. It drives everybody to do the best, the best work, the best offers they can come up with. It kind of keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you having to innovate. And if there was only one DEX, you'd see, we'd be like a bank. We'd offer you 0.01 interest rate and laugh, right? And you take what you get. Whereas when you have competition, it pushes you forward. It pushes you to kind of keep getting creative, and kind of helps you come up with your own little niche market.
Yeah, that's an awesome answer. So, Vertical Malice or Access, if we did not answer your questions to a degree that you are satisfied with, please feel free to Oh, never mind. He said that was perfect. Yes, mental health is
Definitely.
incredibly important, man. It's so important. You got to remember, with COVID, man, stuck staring at screens. We got to remember, people are people, and there is a person behind the other side of the screen that you're talking to, and let's all do the best we can to be respectful of that. Just going forward, as not cryptocurrency people, but just general people, let's do our best to be forgiving and be understanding and just be kind. It doesn't cost you anything to be a nice person. It costs you nothing.
Well, speaking of being nice people, I think let's close out with being extra nice. And I think you have a little bit of a fun surprise for those that stayed with us for the full 60 minutes. This is
Yeah.
quite a great AMA. I'm really happy with the turnout and everything that happened. So I'll let you guys have the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to do a giveaway, and we have 50 Plutus to go to 5 different people. So 250 Plutus, 50 to 5 different individuals. Definitely want to give some Plutus to Access and Vertical Malice for being the two that asked a question, throughout, as well as I think he might have stepped out, so I guess he's out. Sucker. I'll tell George that he missed out. And then we will randomly pick. I'm going to screenshot who's in the audience now, and we will randomly pick another 3. And we will list that here in the general chat in a couple of minutes to let you guys know who are the winners of the giveaway. Does that work all right for you, Matt and Beeks? If we list it in a couple of minutes?
Yeah, that's totally okay with me.
Perfect.
So you guys will announce that in the general chat in just a few.
Yeah, and we'll make sure we at all 5 of the people that win.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out and listening and hearing what we have to say today. We really appreciate it, So,
thank you, Aaron.
Forward.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone, for participating, asking questions. We will, like I said, upload this to YouTube so we can try and spread all the good information as much as possible. And
hey, a huge kudos to you, man. I've been on the end of being a host of an AMA, and it's never easy. You're a wonderful host, somebody really easy to talk to. You ask great questions. Really appreciate that from you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, thanks. And we will talk soon maybe about the upcoming free-to-play competition games. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We'll go head-to-head. It'll be great.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. We're going to close out, and we will see you on the next one.
Yeah, have a good one, you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.